terrible sketch we tried of just saying, guys in the booth just saying John Lennon over and over again,
Let me tell you, one more take. Just one more take.
We always go, I'm just going to do a 3 in a row. But we would laugh really hard, and I don't know why I'm like, but we would all just find that funny and then try it. And people, when I was on the show, it was like, Will Forte was the king of that. Will Forte would come up with things that you were like, where did this come from? Where he would be like a SWAT guy on a date. I remember that with Megan Fox, and he's this SWAT guy with a haircut and everything. She's like, wow, so what do you do? You're on the SWAT team. Like, what do you do? And he just was like, yeah, I'm on the SWAT team. He said, but my real passion is I work on a farm. And I work with sheep. And then she goes, oh, you raise sheep? And he goes, yeah. And she goes, and how do you make money off that? He's like, well, I sell the pelts and the meat, other things. She's like, oh, so you have to kill them? And he goes, yeah, it's really hard. And it was about him, a SWAT guy, but had nothing to do with him being a SWAT guy. It's Jim Downey tells me about, I don't know if you were there when Jack Handy did the Giant Businessman.
Oh, yeah.
That sketch, which was Phil Hartman's a giant businessman. Tom Hanks.
I can't remember it very well.
So he's a giant businessman.
Right.
And he's in a small apartment. So he's this giant in a small apartment, and he's in a regular kind of person-sized apartment, and the people next door are being loud, and it's like a punk band. And he crawls out into the hallway, and he knocks on the door with his finger.
Yeah.
And it's Tom Hanks, and he goes, and Phil, the giant businessman says, excuse me, could you please be quiet? You're being quite loud. And Tom Hanks goes, no, and if you do that again, I'll kick your ass. He closes the door, and then Giant Businessman goes back to his apartment, and he dials a little small telephone, and he goes, hello, witness protection program.
So he's 50 times bigger than Tom Hanks.
But what made it funny was that it doesn't deliver on its premise at all.
No.
It has nothing to do, him being a giant and him being a businessman has nothing to do with that sketch.
When I was at Saturday Night Live, I had the office next to Jack Handy, and I would look forward to his sketches the way a kid listens for the ice cream truck.
Those sketches were insane.
Because they were insane and just so, and he came up with Toonsis the Cat, and there's all these insane sketches.
And Frozen Caveman Lawyer, which was amazing.
Yes, so many great things. I remember he came up with one about there's so many cool... I remember just thinking, how'd you think of that? But there was an era of Westerns in the 1960s where everyone had a specialty. So, there was the rifleman who was really good with a rifle. Then there was a guy who was, everyone had a really good gambler. Everyone had had to have a really cool skill. And this is a guy whose name was Johnny Acid. And he carried vials of acid on him. And so a guy would be provoking him in a Western bar. And they'd be like, hey, Greenhorn, and he'd just be trying to enjoy his drink, and then suddenly he'd turn around and he'd whip out one of his vials and throw it at the guy who deserved it because he was deserved some kind of punishment, but he threw acid on the guy, and the guy was like, and everybody around the person was like, oh my God,
that's terrible.
That's awful. And no one thought what Johnny Acid was doing was cool. He was throwing acid on people.